Hello, welcome to the freaking podcast, dude. It's directly to you. It's our podcast. It's Redirect. I'm AJ. I'm of Redirect. I'm joined by Parker. He's also of Redirect. Did I say it's episode 225? It's episode 225 of our podcast directly to you. You can support that podcast, our channel, and us, me, AJ Parker, by going to youtube.com/watch redirect or twitch.tv/watch redirect and give them $4.99 of your or Jeffy Bezos's money for loyalty badges, free Switch keys from time to time, and access to supporters on Discord, where we record this show every week at varying times depending on schedule, but you still get to hear the show. And also, this is becoming less and less of an incentive because the show has worked increasingly every week, but sometimes it's the only way you get to hear the show. So, either sub or like hit up the Patreon, which you get other rewards for that. Check out the Patreon. The best reward, in my opinion, is the merch. And a little spoiler for next year, my plan is to rotate out the inventory of merch that we offer there to different designs next year. So if you want these designs, the last quarter, this is the last 2 quarters that they're going to be available. I think that's the math. We swap them out in April. So you'll be just under the next quarter. You'll get the first quarter of the next design if you do now, I think. But anyway, there's going to be new designs. So, like, if you don't like these ones that much, then maybe wait until April to do the merch levels and stuff like that. And I also want to look into, like, at least doing, like, stickers at lower levels. So I'm going to commission those too. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, check out the Patreon. It helps us out, and we can help you out by giving you cool stuff. And you can take part in, game nights and playing games with me when I stream them and listening to the podcast, as I already mentioned. Speaking of the podcast, we're freaking doing a podcast right now, dude. And we're talking about in the podcast, we're talking about our Nintendo Switch year in reviews, man. And along the way, just because it's one and the same pretty much, like I'm primarily Nintendo Switch, you're like all Nintendo Switch now. So we're going to talk about our game of the years too.
Yeah. I intentionally, I saw everybody's going up of this, the Switch 2022 year in review on whatever day that happened, and really wanted to press the button. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to save it for the podcast. And so I did. So I don't even know what games I played the most and all that. I could probably hazard a pretty good guess across the board, but we'll find out. I was updating a spreadsheet a little bit ago, which that's always fun. And, now have some data to be able to talk about my favorite games and stuff like that.
I have none of that.
TBD.
I just have Nintendo who did the data crunching for me. So we'll go into that. Also, I streamed pretty much every game that I played this year. This is probably a surprise to some of you, but others of you, not at all. A brief little tidbit. This is like unrelated because again, it is related to the fact that we're primarily Nintendo, but a funny little thing, on the Tuesday stream this week, I tried to see what my PlayStation Wrapped is, like what that situation is, and it kept giving me an error code. And this was me. I was just like, this is still true, but I thought that this was just Sony's incompetence being like, yo, why are you keep giving me an error code? But it's because they don't give you your year in review if you played less than, I think it's 5 or 10. It's either 5 or 10 hours. And I have less than both of those, I think. Because literally,
and it was just Stray.
Yeah, I played Stray and then like bits and pieces of other stuff here and there. So that's where that's at. I played my Xbox significantly more than that, but I'm not going to.
They don't have one of these, do they?
Huh? I don't know.
They don't have like a year in their.
I'm not sure. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure I know what that game is. I actually am going to talk about that a little bit for my game of the year because one of my game of the years because it plays a part. Spoilers. But anyways,
I think I have a guess of what it is.
Yeah, you probably know. You probably know.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, here let's freaking talk about it, dude.
Yeah, let's do yours first.
Here's mine.
Oh, I'm not gonna be able to see your screen. That's okay.
Okay, so.
But also, this is an audio podcast, so we're gonna have to describe
It's
it.
true.
Anyway,
It's true. Okay, so my year in review. This is good incentive for that. Now that you bring that up. Okay, so it's the whole Nintendo thing, and they reveal the thing. And it's like, what's the game? Who knows? My most played. I want you to guess. Guess what my 3 most played games are.
Perhaps in this order: Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Sword, and then, or is it Shield? Which one do you play?
You're incorrect.
Is it Scarlet first and then Shield?
No.
Wow.
That was my brother. Anyway,
I love it.
It's Super Smash Brothers Ultimate,
Yeah.
Pokemon Scarlet, and then Pokemon Legends Arceus. That's the third most fun.
Oh, okay. I was surprised that was more than I would have figured. Max raids and stuff like that.
Curveball.
Edged it out, but look at that. I mean, I figured that was one of those that was up there, but like, good job, Legends
played
Arceus.
at launch. Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Splatoon 3.
Classic.
Okay. 3+ years of play.
Is that just 3 games that you played when they launched?
I guess that's what
Kinda
the category is. 3+ years of play. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, Pokemon Sword,
Of course.
Pokemon Home.
Yep.
Okay, next
That feels like a cheat.
it's a weird category. This next thing, what was your favorite game this year? It says, which this seems like inaccurate, and I don't even entirely know how to how I'm supposed to. Oh, you can click. What the heck? So do they do it by month? Yeah, it's okay. It's by month. They have it by month.
Okay.
This doesn't seem right at all. Hold up. Do we want to do all of the months?
Sure, go for it.
All right. So let me freaking.
This is long form content. We can do whatever we want.
True. Fair enough. How far back does this go? Okay, this is February and this is January. Yeah, what the heck? Oh, I'm very confused, dude. No, this isn't worth. But audio podcast viewers, you can see all of this, man. You can see all these things. There's Pokemon Swords here, Switchboards.
So is this just saying
Mario Party, just
games
games
you played the most per
but
month?
there's multiple games per month, and Jackbox is here. So that's.
I wonder if it's filtering out ones that
are
trying to not have duplicates. You know what I mean? Smash obviously should show up in all of them as number 1.
Yes.
But maybe it's just we're not going to show Smash again, even though it's true. Maybe they're here's some other ones you played that month.
I think they
Something
showed
like that.
Smash multiple times, but
Yeah.
they're not right though. My gaming trends. All right, what do you think here? What do you think is this situation?
Fighting and is that what it is?
So it breaks
genres?
it down into categories more so because it has
So
genres.
what I'm curious
and
about with this, okay, is it based on amount of time spent with it or number of games played?
I'm unsure. I just see percentages. And
if fighting is really high percent, I'm guessing it's number of hours because you've only played, it's just Smash. It's not like you're also playing a bunch of Dragon Ball Fighters or whatever.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say Smash is I
did not want to.
Or fighting is 40 to 50%.
No, it is not that high. It's 23. Okay. It's 23%. Okay. You know what's funny though? Role playing. That's up there. That's 11%. 8% on adventure, 2% shooter. I don't know where that came from. 30%
Splatoon.
action, and 26% multiplayer, which checks out. Makes sense.
I feel like probably action and multiplayer
are two in the same.
Maybe Smash is
Smash
is fighting / action /
into.
multiplayer. Right, exactly. And they just split it evenly across those. Because otherwise the numbers don't add. That's interesting. But it's interesting taking yours as compared to mine. I probably wouldn't have thought of that, and I would just interpret it as different games because, like, it probably is fairly evenly spread out upon just some random stuff. But yeah, that's interesting.
It's true. And then thanks for playing.
Yep.
It seems like.
Are they welcome?
It seems like they had more information than the past ones. I don't think this one's a good one this year.
Yeah.
Did they not give always like hours and stuff like that?
They definitely did.
Where?
Like Spotify Wrapped also changes every year.
No, I'm saying, did they do it in this? I was asking, did they do it this year? And I was trying to see if they have it, but it doesn't look like they do.
Weird.
Okay, wait. Let's do this. Callie said, "I have 14% shooter. It has to be Splatoon." Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
You sure it's not all of that Modern Warfare you're playing?
Yeah, true. Modern Warfare on
Switch?
the Nintendo Switch system. Yeah. True that.
They know. Yeah, no, but it's always interesting with these things because, like, I remember one of my friends for Spotify Wrapped, it gave him some statistic where it's like you're in, the 1% of, or like you've skipped songs fewer times than, like 99% of people or something like that. Or maybe it was a number, like you've skipped 300 songs in the whole year. That's this percentage, something like that. So the next whole year, he like tailored his listening habits kind of around that statistic because he thought it was like, oh, that's kind of fun. Like, I wonder how, where I can get it. And then the next year it just wasn't a statistic on Spotify Wrapped anymore at all. And I've noticed that every year. Like, I had one year where I was like, your musical tastes are 107% different from most other people's or something like that. I don't remember what exactly it was. And so I remember the next year I like barely listened to any songs that had more than 1 million plays for whatever reason, just to like try to see, where I could get that statistic. And then of course it never showed up again. So yeah, similarly, it's kind of like some of this stuff, it's fun to switch it up, but at the same time, there's some that would be cool to just still have. So like the hours, Yeah.
We ready for yours?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll share. All right. Mine is up here if you're showing my screen.
Up there we go. There it is. I see it.
Nice technology. All right, get started. Let's see. It's okay. Check out all the fun you had. Most played: Legends Arceus, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Interesting.
That that makes sense. Legends Arceus, especially Mario Kart 8, played that with Ashley a bunch. I think Kirby just goes to show how
little other games you play.
I played.
Yeah,
exactly. Because I've played, like, I was just going through the list. I was like, I have actually dabbled in a lot of games this year, but a lot of them were for like 2 hours, something like that total. So Kirby, I 100%ed it. So it was like 25 hours total play, but still, as compared to some other years where most of my top played games were like 70 hours or whatever. Like, I think Legends Arceus was maybe closer to like 60-ish or something like that. But yeah, that's it. Most played at launch. Legends Arceus, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and Fall Guys. Interesting, but true. But I feel like there's probably a lot of games that technically... Actually, that's not entirely true. A lot of my games this year were games that I got like on sale that I'd always been kind of interested in. So there's probably fewer games in this category to go off of than some other years.
Yeah, that feels weird. Or it felt weird like when I first saw that. Where I was like, why would you like? I play every game that I play on here. I play along, but that's not normal. People don't always do that, right. So I get it. Fair enough.
Yep.
Fair play.
Yep. 3 years of play. Okay, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Clubhouse Games, 51 worldwide games. 3 years. It's been 3 years since Clubhouse Games. I mean, that was 2020, man.
That's crazy.
And new Animal Crossing.
Yeah, Animal Crossing. I was like, wait, what? But yeah. Sure.
I mean, it hasn't been 3 complete years, I guess, but it's been, more 2020, 2021, right. 2022. So
Yep.
Weird, but I'll take it. All right. And what was your favorite game this year? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's showing 1 out of 55 and then shows a bunch of things.
So weird.
But yeah, I don't most played in January. Oh, it's asking you to pick what your favorite game was.
Oh,
And it's just showing when you played the most of each of these. So I've got like Hades, I played for 25 hours, Stick Fight, 12 hours, Yoku's Island,
oh, that's neat
et cetera, et
then,
cetera.
that it does show you like all the stuff that you played. Then that's a cool part of it, I guess.
Okay, so it is, it's showing you've played 55 games. And I guess if you total up all of these hours played, you could get some numbers, but I'm not going to do that. Shining Pearl played a little while. I think I opened it back up at some point during the year and was like, maybe no, I won't. And then that was it. So, but yeah. Whoa. Oh, that's so funny. Hours played for Legends Arceus, 154, which is a lie because that includes my playtime.
Mm-hmm.
It includes Asher's playtime because we all played it on my account. That's so funny.
That makes sense.
But yeah. All right. Well, I mean, speaking of that, okay, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe played for 53 hours. Oh, now I'm so curious real quick. It showed that the games that I played the most was also Kirby's Forgotten Land. Like, how much did I play? 52 hours of Kirby in the Forgotten Land. Not true, but that must be, again, because other people played it on my profile.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was my third one that was up there as most played? Mario Kart. Yes, which was true.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right. Well, I guess I can stop sharing my screen then. We can go back to just the two of us and talk about our favorite games this year.
Sounds good to me. All right, so how do we want to do what we do usually and do like a top 3 or?
That's a good question. I honestly don't totally I don't have the list fully fleshed out yet. So yeah, we can do something like that. I'll figure mine out as I go. So yes, that works for me.
All right. Sounds good.
You can start.
We'll do honorable mentions ? First.
Okay, cool.
Because I do want to talk about Arceus, which, despite the fact that it is one of the games that I played the most this year, is not one of my favorite games this year. Just because, I went into it knowing that it was going to be finite, and that's fine. But the further away that I get from it, the more I think that it does not stand on its own as like a good game. And if people recommended it, ask me for recommendations on a Pokemon game, I would not recommend it. Unless they very specifically, wanted the gameplay side of it, because I think pretty much everything else about the game, it does worse than other Pokemon games that exist on the platform, other than the minute to minute gameplay of it's fun throwing the Pokeball, it's fun dodging away from the Pokemon attack, but everything else it does worse, which is sad to me. Let me see. Is there any other? Multiverse is another game that I kind of fell off in a similar way. Where
was that the one on Xbox that you were going to talk about?
Nope.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking it was going to be. So what was the other one? We'll find out.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Multiverses, I had a lot of fun with that. It was fun to play with friends. Bugs Bunny was cool and fun playing as, but ultimately, and this isn't the fault of the game necessarily, I don't really care about Bugs Bunny. So I had no real reason to continue to play the game after the hype of playing this game and learning how to be good at it is fun. So I fell off hard, and I was hoping, and I'm still kind of hoping that they do add characters that I do care about to want to play the game. I'm still pulling for Static Shock or Powerpuff Girls or even Ben 10. I think any of those characters would at least pull me in enough to try them, and if they're fun, then I'll be in. But it's not happening right now. So that's why it's honorable mention. Do I have an honorable mention? I don't think I have any more honorable mentions. Kirby's another honorable mention. I don't think Kirby's in my top 3.
Sure.
Game's fun. I like it. I like the fact that they're trying something new with Kirby, but Kirby is not a game that would stick for me for that long. it played its part.
Yeah, that makes sense. Ironically, I think some of your honorable mentions
Are some of your favorites. Yeah.
Could be. But that said, honestly, my honorable mention list is probably pretty long, just of games that I was like, that was a good time. I need to like solidify real quick what my top 3 are. I think, 1, 2, and I think I'm gonna say that's in there for reasons that I'll talk about. So now, because of that, I know my honorable mentions. I'm gonna say Battle Chef Brigade. That's pretty recent. That was in the 2 podcast episodes that we lost. So hopefully, because of me mentioning it, we don't lose this one too. It's not the cursed game or whatever. I just thought that game like is done really well. I don't know. It was cool. So that's like, also I did enjoy and spend a good amount of time with Hades, but like, I didn't click with it like everybody else did, but that didn't mean that I didn't, enjoy it and have a good time. I think for a lot of people that I know, it's an S tier game. And for me, it's like, no, it's like, it's a good game. It just wasn't, it wasn't an S tier game for me, but that's fine. And then just some other similarly honorable mentions. Yoku's Island Express, played that this year for the first time. Didn't come out this year or anything, but I mean Battle Chef Brigade.
Same for
Hades.
One of my games.
Yeah, right, exactly. But yeah, Yoku's Island Express is just like, Metroidvania kind of thing. Did not think I'd enjoy the pinball mechanics, but they're great. And everything about it, like, it does a good job. Like, not a lot of games do a good job where, like, when you beat the final boss, like, what do you do at that point? It kind of just stops, or like the boss, like in this game, you beat the final boss and it's like, yeah, that boss is gone, but all the other collectibles you wanted to get or whatever, they're still there. And it doesn't pretend like, oh, the boss is still around. It's just like that part of it's gone, but you can still do all the rest of the stuff in a way that I thought was really nice. So that was fun. And there's a bunch of other ones I'm sure that I could say just that are honorable mentions. You kind of think Torn in the Golden Country. But yeah, I think I'll Sick Fight the Game. Also played that for the first time this year, I think. And that was a good, fun little party game thing. But that's my honorable mentions. All right, now to your number 3.
My number 3 is Fortnite, dude. Game's fun, man. Whoever would have freaking thought that?
I realized when it wasn't Multiverses, I was like, oh, it's Fortnite. Yeah.
Again, I'm still at a similar place that I was. Okay, so there's a whole trajectory. If like you've been like engaged with me as a listener slash viewer since before the game came out, that like when the game first came out, it's very much so not my thing. Bob forced me to play it once or twice. And I dipped out after that. I was like, okay, I play it when I need to, and any other time than that, I actively do not want to play this game. I'm still kind of there. Like, I don't really I never play the game by myself. I have no desire at all to play the game by myself, but it's really fun to play with at least with the group of friends that I play it with now. It's also like, I feel like playing Fortnite made me realize that like I could definitely be better at shooters if shooters were better designed in terms of visibility, because like the visibility in Fortnite is really good, just like the visibility in Splatoon is really good, and I'm pretty good at both of those. Like I definitely, there's definitely room to grow for me for Fortnite, but I never feel like out of my depth I do in other games like Call of Duty or whatever, where it's like, oh, I got shot and it was because they saw me before I saw them, and never like that guy was just better, he was just built different than me. That doesn't really happen in this game. Like like if I die, it is because it's like, oh, this person's better. It's never like, well, how was I supposed to know that? Because again, the art style of the game just makes it so easy to see and understand what's happening.
And I've heard it sounds like it's pretty good too at like the meta changes a lot in terms of like just gameplay mechanics and stuff, to where like it always stays fresh, but also is easier for new players to get in without feeling too overwhelmed and stuff.
There's
like,
a lot of
cool
fun, different little like weapon, like again, people that have been listening to the podcast this year, the reason why I started playing it at all is because the freaking lightsabers were in the game, laser swords, man.
Oh, that's right. It was
that was the reason why I originally started playing. It was because the lightsabers were in there, and then Dragon Ball happened, and I mean, Kamea Waves, whatever. It was more annoying by the end of it than anything.
I can imagine.
But I mean, Nimbus Cloud's cool. There's other like fun weapons that appear sometimes, but just as I'm playing, like now my favorite weapon in the game is just a straight up sniper. Like which is just like very like I thought that I was going to play this game for the lightsaber, and then once they took it out, I was done. I was out. But it's still fun. I'll play it as long as my friends are playing it, and I do like the fact that I can be like Black Panther, and to a lesser extent, even though I use Goku more, just because Goku like you can go Super Saiyan, and that's pretty neat. It doesn't do anything, but it's just like a funny like, oh, I got this kill and now I'm going to go Super Saiyan now so I can kill the next guy. The sort of thing that the Black Panther skin can do. But I like that you could be them. I like this conversation comes up a lot between me and Lee, where it's like, is it Fortnite that's the better crossover game, or is it Smash Brothers? And I think the conclusion still firmly is that Smash Brothers is a better crossover game, because Fortnite is like superficial and that's it. It's just it's literally just like here's this character and they're like warped to the proportions of Fortnite man, and they might have like some references like I just said, like going Super Saiyan, or like the John Cena like song and pose, the like you can't see me stuff, like they have that stuff. But Smash Brothers, like down to the like fabric of the making of this character, everything is like very much so lasered in on like this character is this character. You feel like you're playing them in the game that they came from. Fortnite doesn't really have anything like that. But
yeah, RP said, "Isn't My Hero Academia the next crossover?" I think so. I saw something.
I think that's the next thing. I mean, right now the current crossover is Mr. Beast. That's the current crossover that's happening right now.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's freaking ridiculous, but it's fun. That's my number 3, and I mean, it's not. I'm not playing it on Nintendo, but it's still Nintendo. You could play it, and it didn't come out this year, but I played it this year, so I don't know what to tell you.
No, that makes sense. My number 3, I'm gonna go say again, I don't totally know the order of these, if I'm being totally honest, and that's fine. Tinykin, I'm gonna say that one. That's the one. So it's kind of like it's a 3D platformer, but also has like sort of Pikmin-y mechanics, but like kind of lighthearted Pikmin stuff, where it's less like super kind of less slow puzzly or strategic, and more light puzzle, where like, you know, you need the right color thing, but it basically like it'll shoot the right color thing at the right color, you know, thing that you need to do basically. But there's also a finite number of the little tinykin in whatever level that you're in. It's like it's a sandbox kind of thing. But there's lots of collectibles and stuff like that. But I think the thing that brings it into my top 3 was just playing it with Ashley, and that she was having a really good time with it too. And so, I don't know whether it would stand alone in here, but maybe, because I thought it was really good. So, the ending was weird, which, like, I mean, no spoilers or whatever, but it was like, I feel like it tried to do more than it tried to like make some big kind of ending. It's like, okay, just it is a silly game about a little guy.
Right.
But the environment, for anybody who doesn't know, it's like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kid kind of setting, where you're little tiny spaceman kind of guy in, just like a bedroom, or like a room filled with toys and like stuff that but really just like a train, toy train going around, and Hot Wheels kind of things. So it's pretty neat. I think that's my number 3. What about your number 2?
My number 2 is Splatoon 3, man. It's a fun game. It's Splatoon 2 but better, except for in the fact that the online, I don't know if they fixed it since, it's not better. It's nowhere near as good in terms of like stability, at least. Like the usability of it, outside of the fact that the connection drops so much, is a lot more fluid. Like, it's easier to jump in and jump out and like join with friends and be on the same team with your friends and like all that good dear stuff. And then, you know, they did new stuff like how the Splatfests are kind of different, where they have the 3-team thing, and that's not super consistent, but when it works, it's fun. It also, like, a lot of it was like, again, like the people that I played it with and like still want to play it with, like, it's still really fun. It just, number one, man, got chokehold. But yeah, no, Splatoon 3, really good game. There's not a whole lot that I can say about it that I haven't already said about it before the game even came out, because I just already knew that it was just going to be Splatoon again, but better. And that's all I needed to be. So yeah, that's my number 2.
Do you, out of curiosity, do you feel like I'm curious what the longevity of Splatoon 3 is compared to Splatoon 2. It feels like it's just a lot quieter than Splatoon 2 was in kind of its tail. Which, I mean, that said, you know, you'd say the same of Pokemon Go, where like now it's making more money than it ever was, that kind of a thing.
But also,
yeah, I do wonder.
I think that it may seem like that from your perspective, because like Splatoon 2 was a lot. The Splatoon 3 is like a decent amount of people's first time playing a Splatoon game, but Splatoon 2, it was the first time for 3 times the amount of people that played the first video game. At once. So it was like basically like the first entry in a franchise rather than being the third entry in a franchise, which I mean is more like in this scenario the second entry in a franchise for the majority of people playing it. But on top of that, like, people have a lot of like adoration and like rose tinted love for 2017, but nothing in 2017 was the 1-2 punch of here's Splatoon 3, open world Pokemon video game.
Right.
So I think that is largely why, where it's like a lot of people just had that hard pivot of like, okay, Splatoon 3, I'm playing that. Pokemon comes out, and that doesn't mean that the game is going to die, because just like it happened to a lesser extent with Splatoon 3, the next thing that came out that I don't remember exactly what the release timeline was, but there were multiplayer games that came out after Splatoon 3 that like kind of took some of the player base away from that game for a little bit, and then they came back later once the hype around the other game like died down, you know, like just like I'm playing it, dude, like I literally, and this includes Smash, like I haven't really played anything but the spoilers, my number 1 Pokemon Scarlet, I'll talk about that in a little bit, since the game came out, like including Smash. I've probably played Smash like 3 times since Pokemon came out, and that's crazy for me. So like Splatoon, like if I'm not playing Smash, I'm not playing Splatoon. And that's not even necessarily like a quality thing. It kind of is. But it's largely like the comparison. The reason why I bring that up is it's a lot easier for me to actively want to play Smash because it's an intrinsic thing. It's I can play Smash by myself and get everything that I want to get out of it by myself. Whereas Splatoon, I can't get that. Like I only really want to play Splatoon if I'm playing with at least 1 or 2 people that I know and am talking to and can communicate with. And right now that's just not a desire I have. But when we go into 2023, I'm back on it.
But yeah,
makes sense.
That's
my number 2. Splatoon.
Good number 2. My number 2. I'll note as well here. I have a lot of honorable mentions too that are games that I just didn't play, but I'm very interested in, even that I received as birthday gifts or whatever, and just haven't played yet. So so that's why I like. Is not here. I'm pretty sure it would have been, or a whole bunch of other games. So that's that. But number 2, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It's just like, it's one of those where I kind of forgot about it after I'd played it to some degree. So like, but kind of the same as in 2020 with Animal Crossing, where I played it so much, and then by the end of the year I was like, yeah, I guess Animal Crossing, existed and happened. Some of that same thing here, but like just thinking back to while I was playing the game, I just had a really, really good time playing the whole game, and like so many moments of like, that's so cool and stuff, and seeing Kirby in 3D and stuff. Like I just, all of it was good, and it was like a fun challenge to 100% it. It didn't feel overwhelming, but it felt like challenging at the same time, and wasn't annoying to 100% it either. Because there's some games where it's like, I'm at like 95%. Like World of Light, prime example of like, I 100%ed it, but like at what cost? And this was very much not that. And it was just fun to do it. And like the mechanics are cool. And I feel like, especially having the little side levels, like the main levels were really fun. And they did a good job too of like having grandiose scenery and stuff like that, which was really neat. But then they'd also have these little side levels where they didn't have a chance to get you to test your metal doing, using the hammer in exactly this way. Or it's like, it's not that they didn't get a chance, but that it would have been too annoying within the context of a full level to make you do something this challenging. So just make a little side level where you have to do that thing within a limited amount of time. And then there's an extra little challenge where if you get it in an even shorter time, you get just a little bonus star that doesn't amount to anything, but it's there. Yeah, all of that I think was just really well delivered. And I would love for Kirby to become more than this even, but I feel like
this is a good first
not only was this a good start, but it was just like, it was great. Again, like I was talked about a bunch at the time. It's kind of the 3D world of Kirby, and 3D World is a great game. So like,
I agree.
I'm not complaining about that. It's just like, at the same time, would love to see it, additionally evolve to something more. But that's
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure this is. I'm sure this is your number one. But Kirby in the Forgotten Land feels like a good version of what Arceus is for Kirby,
right?
Because it's like the positioning of it is so much, in my opinion, better, and it doesn't feel like Arceus in the sense that like they didn't give you any less of a Kirby game than they would have given you otherwise. They just gave you the fullest version of what new 3D Kirby could look like, whereas like Arceus is like, okay, let's give you Pokemon, but like only the thing that like 10% of players actually do. That's the entire game. That's the entire video game. That's the whole thing. So yeah, I enjoyed that game. It got edged out. If Fortnite wasn't my number 3, Kirby would have been my number 3.
Yeah. No, that's totally. And I forgot to even mention the hub town. Like, yeah, exactly. As far as like there being things, it not taking stuff out, like it added things in by normally all that stuff would be just in a menu, like playing the mini games and stuff like that. It's just like you go to a menu and do it, which is fine, but way better to just have a little hub area to walk around and talk to a Waddle Dee, and they're like, hey, you want to play this game? And you're like, sure.
Right. Have it injected in the game, so it feels like the game was built in a cohesive way.
Yeah,
it's crazy the amount of good that does.
So yeah, that's my number 2. And then your number 1.
My number 1, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. No, I'm joking. Freaking Pokemon Scarlet, dude. This is another. I mean, this is a multi-layered thing that I'll like go into deeper in a much more succinct, well-worded, entertaining way to hear. But there's a lot about this game that I like significantly more than I've liked any other Pokemon game that has ever existed, and it's kind of not close. I think that the story is like light years better and this isn't to say that it's a great story, because again, I still stand by video game stories in general are not good. But as Pokemon stories go, this is the best one. Free, and it's not close. The gameplay could be better, because the frame drops or whatever and all that stuff, blah blah blah. It's still a Pokemon game at the end of the day. Going through menus is not actively fun. But the gameplay in the sense that like you can play with your friends and that's super seamless, and like the whole thing of like, oh, my friend Youth doesn't know where to go for this thing. Let me show you. I got lost. How do you go to this gym? Oh, I'm gonna come through and show you. You know, like, oh snap, you're catching this Pokemon. That's really sick. Where do I find this? Oh, you go over here. You catch this Pokemon that way. You know, all that stuff is very cool, and it in a good way, in a way that feels like it's forward momentum and not just like tech demo-y, like Nintendo Land, in a way that we may or may not ever see again. It's like, hey, here's this cool idea that could be fleshed out more in the future, but we're using it now in a way that feels like thought through. Not like they're just being like, maybe we'll try, maybe we'll actually finish this someday. There's a lot of those things, and like the more I play it now, even after beating it, there's more stuff that I find that I know is going to keep me invested for so much longer. Like the individual things that usually keep people engaged with Pokemon games for the hundreds of hours, the years that it usually does, feel better intertwined in this game because it's an open world game. Like I just like came to the like I just had the epiphany that like EV training a competitive team is something that you can actively do, and I don't mean by breeding, but you can actively do while also shiny hunting. I was EV training a Pokemon and shiny hunting a different Pokemon at the same time. And I found the shiny within like a few seconds of like trying to EV train this Pokemon. So it's like you always feel like you're moving forward and making progress towards something. Whereas like, again, and I don't want to harp on this game because I know you like this game a lot, but for me, it contextualizes why I like this game so much more. Where like, getting shinies and Arceus felt like working towards a trophy that you're going to place on an ottoman and do nothing else with after. Totally. Getting shinies in this game felt like I'm getting a tool that I'm going to use later, and it's going to be cool, you know. Which in my head feels better because like, even if I get a shiny that I'm never actually going to use, like I got a shiny Mudbray, I'm never going to use a shiny Mudbray on my team, but it's neat that I got it. That's cool, but I do also have the option to get the shiny Tatsugiri that I caught and use that on a team, you know? I think the fact that this game provides the possibility to come back to it for years to come is what makes this game stand heads and shoulders above something like that, or even something like Brilliant Diamond, because Brilliant Diamond, in a different way, does the same thing. Like it like kneecaps itself of like, you'll play it this one time and then maybe never again. And for some games, like, I mean, I'd argue even most games, that's fine. But when a franchise has already shown its competence in creating a larger experience, why not continue to do that? So I think that Scarlet does a really good job at doing just that. It has some hiccups along the way, as do every Pokemon game known to man. That somehow gets forgotten, despite that people cover it into the ground in the moment. But yeah, it's buggy. It's not as buggy as people make it seem, and it's definitely not super. It's not the most buggy Pokemon game by a light year. But yeah, that exists, and that's part of it. It didn't really impact my experience. There's really only one bug that we talked about on the podcast. I don't know if this was a podcast that got yeeted into the universe though. But the one actual bug that I was like, this is not good. This shouldn't be happening in the video. No, not the crashing. The crashing happens like I said, it happened in Smash Brothers. I mean, that shouldn't happen either, but it's not exceptional. It's not something that like, I can't believe a video game in 2022 is really, because I don't know that many games that I played for a long time that haven't crashed on me multiple times. That's not me making an excuse. That's just me being honest. Smash Brothers crashed on me. Multiverses crashes on me. Freaking Fortnite crashed. All of it crashes on me. All of it. And for what it's worth, Pokemon hasn't crashed on me since the second day that I played it. and I've been playing it pretty nonstop for the last 3 weeks. So I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was I was shiny hunting. I don't even remember what the mouse hold. I was shiny hunting for a mouse hold, and no, it wasn't even mouse hold. It was Dachshund. It was the dog, and the outbreak, the shiny outbreak, was inside of a mountain. So I couldn't actually engage with the Pokemon. That annoying. Is an inexcusable bug that objectively hinders playing the video game. It's not this removes me from my immersion. It's not, I'm distracted by it actually is actively stopping you from playing the game. And that's not okay. Yeah. But the good greatly outweighs those little hiccups of bad. So
nice.
Yeah, it's my favorite game for this year.
Yeah. Good game. Yeah. I didn't include it on my list because I just
because you didn't play it enough.
Yeah, exactly. So TBD how
maybe next year's game of the year.
Honestly, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, so my number one, I think, Legends Arceus, and I think contributing to that too definitely is also that Ashley and I played it together a bunch and had a good time. So all that, but I think even just as far as the core experience goes, like you said, the difference in what the end goal is for me, and that mine cuts short, way shorter than what your expectations are. Where I'm perfectly happy for things to just live on a mantle, and I've got that shiny. Right, I sure have it. So I think overall there's that where it didn't feel like it should go on any longer than it did, and even at that I didn't finish the whole Pokedex. I was pretty close, but I decided it was kind of one of those why bother sort of a things. So I didn't, but what was I I think the things that I did appreciate about it were things that because it didn't have to be beholden to some regular standard Pokemon games where it has to be a certain kind of balanced, because obviously it has to be because Pokemon, right? Because it's just PvE. There was just stuff that was kind of unbalanced, but in a way that could be tailor-made to the situation if you wanted to, or just them introducing mechanics of crafting your own Pokeballs and that kind of stuff. I think the crafting TMs is fine in Scarlet, and maybe I'll enjoy it more later.
It's not as good.
Yeah, that was something that I really enjoyed, was going out, getting items and stuff. And I don't know how that will or won't factor into future games, but that was something that I specifically part of the whole gameplay loop that felt fun. So yeah, there were just some things like that. There's one other thing I was just thinking about, but I don't remember specifically what it was, so that's fine. But overall, I think there were a lot of things that it did that I just appreciated, and don't know that they would work in a mainline Pokemon game. So, kind of TBD on that front, but I had a good time with it. And again, I think the fact that Ashley and I played it together, and this is she said this is probably the most she's ever liked a game. And that's fun.
That's good.
I've probably have that as part of my feelings on it too. All that. But yeah, I don't know. Legends Arceus, it was a neat little time. I'm still trying to remember the thing I was trying to remember earlier, but it doesn't matter. It's not that important. So overall, that's my game of the year.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I I said, I like the game for what it is, but it is it's just that. It's a.
An analogy, of some sorts is your mom's chili or whatever. If I try to make my mom's chili and then you have some of it, you'd be like, wow, that's great. And then I'd be like, there's not my mom's chili.
Exactly.
I know the difference.
Right. Exactly.
So it's the same kind of thing where I've never bothered to go any past the single player stuff. So for me, it's that's cool. That's awesome. They switch some stuff up or
the
whatever.
Only thing, the reason why for me it's because that comparison is the emotion that elicits is man, if only you knew. But it's actively frustrating for me.
Yeah.
Not for to be clear, and and I hope that you understand this, not for you specifically, but it's actively frustrating for me for the sentiment to exist that people are like, yes, give us this instead. Give us the thing that actively neuters the experience so that it can like pretty up a little bit about the like a fraction of what is usually there, you know. I think that is a bad way to do it, and I think that really like when some people think that what they're doing is pushing the series forward, they're giving them an out. They're like, okay, we just want this little small segment to be really, really pretty, and then you can forget all the other stuff. While simultaneously like damaging what the game is, and like the complaints and the desires of people that say like more this instead, not more this, but more this instead specifically. They don't realize that like what is happening works. It's not even if it's not broke, don't fix it. People are happy with the game sort of thing. But like the Pokemon competitive scene is a big part of why Pokemon is successful. It's not even like to the like what Smash sort of is, where it's like it could be, you know, like it in theory maybe it is or whatever. Like no, there's quantifiable hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars spent on playing these games competitively. Pokemon Company is very directly involved and monetarily invested in this scene operating in the way that it does. So to have the games completely ignore that, I think it hurts what Pokemon is and should be a lot. Even if this is not, again, I'm not talking about you, this royal people in general, even if you don't engage with it in that way, that shouldn't be like cause to be like, oh, it doesn't matter, because in a lot of ways that experience is responsible for the experience that you do enjoy. Like they're
I mean, I think my ideal worlds would be that like Legends Arceus influence as many things. And I remember the thing I was thinking before, it was how the like action element of the game, the like not necessarily the boss fights. Like I don't necessarily care about those that much.
They did poorly.
They were fine. But just in general with like other Pokemon attacking you and you having a run, that kind of thing, all of that I felt like was implemented so well. And there's no reason that couldn't be done in the overworld.
And you know me of all people, I agree. Make Pokemon more action oriented. I think the gameplay of Arceus is, again, that was the main thing in my honorable mention that I did praise about the game. Like the gameplay, the minute to minute gameplay is light years. Like it's not even close to close. Better than the minute-to-minute gameplay of the mainline Pokemon games. If I could marry the two, that would be the best game of all time, and I would probably never play Smash Brothers again. But like at the end of the day, it's like I think that what Pokemon, the main series games, offer is just more. It's more, and some of it is not as good in terms of like the battles, but so much of the other stuff that is also like really not even so much, because again Arceus doesn't do that much, but like shiny hunting, there's more of a reason to want to shiny hunt. That is the only like long-term, like if you play Arceus for years to come, that is the only thing that you can do. It is objectively better and Scarlet and Violet, because there's more ways to do it, there's more Pokemon to do it for, there's more people that you can do it with, there's more reasons to have shiny Pokemon, you know. So like the whole thing of like, oh, these 260 some odd Pokemon or whatever, I'll one day have all the shinies of these or whatever, that's fine. But even those 200 some odd Pokemon, the real, like for people that like are actually going to use these Pokemon long term, the real actual goal is to be able to use them in a game that's fully fleshed out, you know, like so like even then it's like Arceus is just a crutch to make a game that is better than it, even more better than it later down the line.
I think so. The like in terms of spin-offs and stuff, I think I'm really thankful for Arceus and hope that it impacts, mainline Pokemon or whatever.
Right.
And I think I'd love to see spin-offs go in the more different they are, the better kind of a thing.
I completely agree with that, yeah.
Pokemon Snap or that kind of a thing. And this one, if it was just, truly an experiment where they can now implement so many of these things, that's awesome. That's great. Or even, if one of the spin-offs is a Pokemon like turn-based RPG single player kind of thing, but in a completely different context, like more, it's pixel graphics again, and it's just more like Final Fantasy-ish or something like that, Final Fantasy 6 or whatever, where it's very much built for an interesting PvE experiment or experience, and it's not that much like the mainline games, like those kinds of things or whatever. I'd be fine with that too.
Yeah.
If it gives just a different experience of Pokemon.
I'd agree with that.
But yeah.
But the only thing that has me hesitant about that is like if it doesn't not even that if it doesn't contribute to the grander vision of what Pokemon is and what continuously like brings them cyclical money, I can't see them committing to it, and I can't see them like investing the money and making that and also the bigger thing. Like, I can see it being... I
mean, what about like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon or something like that?
Right. A Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I feel like is the one of the best case scenarios where it's like it's not handled by Game Freak at all. It's a Spike Chunsoft game. So like if that's what they're going to do and they bring on other developers and it's Bandai Namco, Pokemon Snap. But even then, I feel like it's better served if it is cyclical in that way. Where like New Pokemon Snap, I think New Pokemon Snap is an infinitely better and worthwhile game if what is done there contributes to the future Pokemon games. If like in a Breath of the Wild sort of way, Tears of the Kingdom comes out of Breath of the Wild, Pokemon Snap is the basis of like, the new models and new animations and new like landscape, like here's the region that you travel in the next Pokemon game or whatever, right? That I think is like a way to like make everybody happier. Because we get bigger, grander Pokemon games that are like made alongside people that have more technical prowess than Game Freak does. We get games more often while also not getting too many games to the point where they're rushed. And they get to try new ideas without it being a huge risk. Because they can do things like Arceus and be like, okay, well, what works here and what doesn't, and inject what does work into bigger games and throw away what doesn't. Rather than here's this new idea for the sake of a new idea that will never come back to, or we'll make another sequel to that will like take away resources from something that can serve the greater community. Yeah. It's basically what it
makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it would be great to experience Pokemon in a variety of different ways, even including, I don't know, at a theme park, perhaps.
True.
One in Orlando. That is not the one we're talking about today because that one's not even started yet, technically. But in the meantime, Nintendo World is opening soon in February, the one in Hollywood. Okay, side note, back to the Orlando one real quick.
Right.
I think what we know about that one is that it was originally a small part, and then they were like, nah, never mind. Now it's going to be this big part over here, and that small part's just going to be Pokemon, and the big part's going to be huge.
Yep.
And that's going to be Nintendo World, right?
Yes.
Cool. That's awesome. I'm excited about that. But again, that's forever away. But for not ever away is, this one in Hollywood. It opens soon. There's a trailer and everything. There's not a whole lot to say about this. It seems to me kind of looks like it's a little bit copy and paste the Japan one, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of a thing. And,
and also it like
be able to go to Japan.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the biggest thing is like, it would be cool for people that I mean, more or less people like us where like we have incentive to eventually go to all of them. to like experience a different thing. But for most people that probably don't want to have to be incentivized to go to Japan, if they can help it, unless they can afford it, to be able to experience what people can experience in Japan, you know?
Yeah. And also I just thought about this, but the R&D of the ride, like the rides are like, the Mario Kart one is a, experience, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
The one where like you're going on the ride and you also have 3D glasses.
Yep, it's
things
like
are happening
the
to you.
4D experience situation. Yeah.
So like that took a lot of time, I'm sure, to develop and get it perfectly honed in and all that kind of stuff. So like, might as well just use that again because it costs so much to do, I guess. But yeah. In any case, it's cool. And there's that. Okay, so here's the question based on that, because kind of small story otherwise. For the one in Orlando, what's one ride that you think would be just really cool? That's Nintendo.
I still want. I mean,
not necessarily ride, but like experience.
I still want the Pokemon Snap one, man. I think that would be the best. Yeah. That would be the best use of a 4D sort of situation.
Yep.
Because they can gamify it, because it does sound like that's what they want to do, is like have some sort of like leaderboard-esque like incentive to engaging with these rides. They can do that, and then also it has like the very natural this is why you're in a 3D world, and this is why you're riding on the thing, and blah, like, it's diegetic, which is so. Yeah, I think that could be cool.
And I don't think there's a lot of other rides like that. I mean, like there's rides that you go through and see, Jungle Cruise or something like that. But as far as ones where you would like, I guess, are you thinking you're holding a camera that has a screen that sees a fake thing that,
either that or it is like animatronics or however they want to do that. Are like QR, like an AR sort of situation. Maybe they're like they appear different in the camera than they do in the real world, or something, technology.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That would be super fun. Yeah, I think on my end, I don't know much about it, but I feel like Kirby's Air Ride would be really fun. Yeah. Because I mean, like, right now the Nintendo or the Mario Kart 1 isn't a particularly fast ride. Like it's a, I don't think, at least I haven't ridden it, but maybe it's got like fast sections, but it seems like just part of it's fast. But I'd be down for just a classic,
just like a roller coaster.
Yeah, that like feels, whether that could be a loft wing flight kind of thing, but I don't know if that's.
So do you think it should be like I'm trying to think, if you've been to Hershey Park before, right?
No, I haven't.
That's crazy. We should go.
Yeah. Almost did one time.
You got family here, man. But there's this ride that it used to be Lightning Racer, but now it's like Reese's Cup race. So it's peanut butter versus chocolate, and the roller coaster, like they race. It's a race.
Yeah.
Are you thinking that, or should it just be like a straight up, like just a roller coaster that's a roller coaster? Because it's still a roller coaster. That's a roller coaster. It's just a roller coaster that has two different tracks, and one side gets there before the other one.
Is it always the same? Which side gets there first?
No.
Oh, I didn't know. Because I've been on some before where it's a similar kind of thing. There's like dueling, like a left and right one.
I think there's one at like California event, the Disney park. It's like Cars. I think they.
Yep, gotcha.
I think there's something similar to that. I mean,
I think the one I went to was at a Red Flags, I think, or
Six Flags.
Yes, that's the one. And it was like a wooden roller coaster. And I think there were some bits where it looked like one side was ahead compared to the other or whatever. But, it was just that one side was longer and then the other side would have a longer section a little bit later. But I think they always arrived at the same time. I could be wrong about that, though. Maybe they didn't. Maybe I just imagined that. But that could be a fun way to do that. Especially if you could do 4 different ones, but that seems a little bit ambitious.
See, and that's the thing that I was thinking about this.
You could come back and do it 4 different times if it's 4 different,
facts,
slightly different tracks.
But I was thinking that that would be like, I could see them doing it for that reason. to be able to say
Yeah.
like this is the first ride of its kind, and you know, like all that crap. So I could see
Yeah.
them doing that in the Pokemon Snap thing because of that. But that would depend on, like, Pokemon Snap would be like a Pokemon company thing. Like
Yeah,
Nintendo
yeah,
could
for
probably be like, yeah, let's do that. But like ultimately, like, it's the Pokemon company, it's the coalition, it's the, like, they had to go to the, like, shared, like, Illuminati of, like, all right, in favor, you know, they got to have enough votes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep, it's true. But yeah, honestly, Nintendo has so many different, like, because you could do something in Samus's gunship that, like, maybe that's more of a traditional 4D kind of ride where, like, you know, it's got that tilt platform that everybody's on or something.
Or they could do,
or something
they could do
with
the freaking
Star Fox.
They could do like their, if they do Metroid, they could do like their version of have you been to Epcot before?
I have.
Have you been to Epcot?
The spinning one?
Yes. The one that
I did that one.
They could do
I
something.
think it was new when I went there.
It was new when I went there. Well, it was new the
nice.
first time that I went on it, I should say. I've been there since, but I don't think I went on it the last time I went to Epcot. I don't think so. But they could definitely do like a Metroidvania sort of like space ride, because like that ride goes through like that whole like narrative thing of like, all right, person that's the engineer, do this thing. You know, it's like, oh, we unlocked this ability, so press this button, and you know, they could do like their version of that ride. That could be cool.
That could be cool.
Or something entirely different. Make a friggin' Pikmin ride or something. I don't know.
True. Yeah, it's. I think the gamification bit is interesting. Like, how tied are they to making everything be gamified? And it seems like pretty tied.
It would be,
but
like,
I don't know, that
it would make
minecart
it so
ride
much
for Donkey
cooler
Kong.
if it was. Which I don't know how they gamify the minecart situation.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's like a, you know, you're trying to like get the letters, or, you know, like in the minecart levels, typically there will be letters or balloons or something that you have to like jump through to collect those, or coins or bananas or whatever. Maybe it's a similar kind of thing where like at certain points throughout the thing you've got to like do something that would collect it for you, but that feels like a lot. So maybe not. And also that seems a little bit dangerous with the like arms and legs inside the cart at all times, so maybe not. But yeah, in any case, cool stuff. I think I'm just going to wait to go to the Orlando one personally. So I'll be waiting a long time, but that's fine.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go next year, but I might gotta do that.
Well, there you go. And in other news, there's not really much to talk about this other than it. We're in the other news section, so we can talk about whatever we want. Fire Emblem is coming soon, and there are previews that went up this past week, and it sounds like it's really good from what previews said. And there's a new trailer, and I haven't watched it.
I haven't seen it either.
It basically showed off, I think, the town. It's not a town, but the place that you're in, kind of like the monastery, and and it seems like in general they're just like continuing to improve on that compared to the monastery, and there's a lot of activities and stuff like that, and like and I'm down with that. That's just a fun, like, I love a good hub world. So curious if there's going to be the same kind of, like, obviously there's not like teaching and stuff the same way that there was in Three Houses, so I'm curious if there's like a day and night cycle the same way that you are going through and doing. I don't know. That'll be interesting to find out.
I basically already got it. I got that game because I have the freaking voucher. So,
Ayo.
What happens. I'm not paying attention at all, but I'm going to get it once it's out, and I'm gonna play it.
Nice.
And see, here's the thing though. Here's what. This is the dangerous side. What if I don't like it as much as I like Three Houses? What if I don't like it nearly as much?
Yeah.
That would be unfortunate.
Yeah, it would.
But I think
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, at least it's a voucher, right?
True.
So like,
it's cheaper. It's cheaper than the other one was, I guess.
And at this point, what's the next game otherwise that you'd be using your voucher for?
I could just use that voucher on Violet.
It might, like, Happy. Oh, true.
It's true.
Why? Why would you want a second copy?
Just
because
I don't have Scarlet. I have Scarlet. I don't have Violet. Because Nuzlocke. It just makes Nuzlocke easier. But yeah.
Oh, that's true. I could see that.
Either way, there's another thing that happened that I have up on the screen.
Yeah.
Friggin' they got the Genesis games. They got new Genesis games. On the Nintendo Switch Online shop, dude. It's
nice.
Freaking great. Here's the video, but I'm not watching the video. It's Golden Axe 2, Alien Storm, Columns, and Virtua Fighter 2.
Nice. Oh, this just happened.
Yes, just happened.
Look at that.
Breaking news.
Golden Axe is one of those where, like, in my mind, I have fond memories of it because I remember seeing the arcade game of it, I'm pretty sure. And maybe one time my dad gave me a quarter or whatever to actually play it. And I just thought it was cool because it's like swords and axes and, all that kind of stuff. So in my mind, it's like I have this strong connection to it, but really it's just I longed to play it many a time, but it's not my kind of game at all. Like I'm just really bad at it. I've tried a couple of times on, the classic collection.
I don't remember if I was good at it or not, but I do remember liking Golden Axe. I never played the second one though. So
no, me neither.
It's the first.
I did. I don't know. It was an arcade, and I was a kid. So.
I'd assume that the first Golden Axe is on there? Question mark.
It is. Yep. Correct.
Man, that just shows how little I care about the. Did Pokemon Stadium come out yet? That's the question.
Nope.
Okay. Cool.
Next year, I think.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, at some point December we're supposed to get GoldenEye. That's like because we got Pokemon.
Yeah, those games suck though. I was just trying to make sure I wasn't ignoring the existence of Pokemon Stadium, which I do want to actually like. I want to at least turn it on.
Oh, and yeah, I would definitely play some Pokemon Stadium and go back through I remember going through the little gym challenge thing, Pokemon Stadium, and not being particularly great at it for some reason. Yeah, but it was fun. So,
yeah, I like Pokemon Stadium. I won't play the mini games. I guess I'll play the. I mean, you could do like they have the freaking like multi battle thing. Might do that. Might gotta do that.
Multi battle thing.
It's like you can do the story in quotes. With two people.
Oh.
Or it's like one person has 3 Pokemon, the other person has 3 Pokemon.
Interesting. I didn't have friends. I did have friends, but I guess we just didn't really play games together that much, or we played the mini games, or I don't know. Yeah. It's fun. It's weird. Okay. Tangent, but like, yeah. So when I was like 9 and 10, the last 2 years that we lived in France, I had an N64, friends had an N64, and like we did play games together and we hung out all the time because they lived on my same street and stuff, but somehow just like it wasn't very like multiplayer just didn't feel like much of a thing. Maybe it was just the games that we chose, or maybe like we would fight too much during it or something like that, but like that just was not a part of my gaming growing up and stuff. And even like trading Pokemon, maybe also it was that like the marketing campaigns weren't as strong in France to where like gotta catch them all just kind of fell off.
I think that like that archetype also exists here, like Alec was like that until very recently. Like literally this Pokemon game is probably the first Pokemon game that he like entirely played with other people. So like it's just a thing. Like a lot of people buy both Pokemon versions and trade themselves, stuff like that.
And you know what? Also, I remember as a kid, I would go to other people's houses and they'd be like, "Hey, you want to play?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good. Like, I legitimately am fine just watching you play," because it would be a game that I didn't know how to play, and I didn't want to try to have to learn to figure it out on the fly.
My cousin Tyler is at least was. I don't know. I haven't played a game with him for. I mean, given this story, almost never. But he's like that, like to an extreme, where it's like he very much so does not like playing games with other people. He doesn't even really like people watching him play games. It is like a very insular thing to him, and it's foreign. for me.
Yeah.
Because like that's how I play most games. Is a lot of it is like playing it with people. And I think like that's also a part of it that I think gets lost when people see stuff like how long I play Smash, right? Where like when they see the hours of time that I'm playing Smash, they look at that and they're like, man, he's cooped up in this room and he's by himself and he's not interacting with It's like, no, I'm like, if I'm playing Smash, I'm probably talking to a lot of people. Like, it's rare that I'm like playing a game entirely by myself. Even single player games, like stuff like Pokemon. Before it was like literally like you can be in my world. I'll play through Pokemon. Like my brother, he got mad at me. I don't know if I told the story, but he got mad at me because I got the game early. And I played it with Alec and Youth and like Mega Man and Trev and Lee, and like I just played it with a lot of different people. So I was like done with the game before he even like got it, let alone like got to play it. Right. Because we usually, like, before the games were even multiplayer, we just freaking sit in the room, play the game. Yo, I'm on the second badge. Where are you at? Oh, all right, bet. I'll wait for you to get to the second badge. You want to do a battle after that? Okay, cool. And, like, that's how we play the game.
That's fun.
But yeah, that didn't happen this time because the game's literally multiplayer, and I got a stream, so.
True. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, too, because, like, Mitch and I played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 around the same time, but he was always a little bit ahead of me. I think he just had a little bit more time or whatever. But so we would talk about the story and like theories and stuff where we were, but he was always a little bit ahead of me again. So he was like, I'll just put myself in the mindset as if I were still on chapter 5, even though I'm on chapter 7. And which is fine, but it was just like, I don't know that I've had a whole lot of that experience of like playing something particularly side by side with somebody other than I guess maybe Ashley at this point, where we've played Tinykin together and Legends Arceus and Animal Crossing and stuff. And so that is the nice thing about games like Breath of the Wild or Animal Crossing or things where it's different from person to person, that you can talk about those experiences separate from how far you are in the game, quote unquote, because that's like just not really how it works.
Right.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But I do realize now that like because of that, I have a hard time playing games with people that I feel like, I mean, certain kinds of games with people that I feel like are on a completely different, I don't know how to say it, especially cooperative games. I'll use this as an example. Snipper Clips. I played it with Mitch and it went okay because we're both gamers and we could kind of like, I could give thoughts and he could give thoughts on like, how do we complete this puzzle together? But I played it also briefly with my mom. And this was a long time ago. And I played it with Ashley before she played too much stuff. And I was trying, like holding myself back to like not give too many thoughts because I didn't want to like take over or whatever. So it's just interesting, like, not having a lot of experience of like playing games actively with other people. I think is a little bit shaped what that looks like. Yeah, that makes sense. Because like for me, it's like I kind of do that, but I have a lot of experience of playing with a lot of different types of people. Yeah, so like for me, it's like it wasn't foreign at all. Like talking to you before Pokemon came out, she like has like a lot of like concerns that are similar to this, right? Where she's like, well, you're not going to want to play with me because like I don't know as much as you guys, and I'm going to be asking a lot of questions, and it's going to be boring. But I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like I'm used to that. Like that's like part of it for me. It's like I'll go from the very like high level of like talking to Leah, being like, yo, should I invest 142 EVs in this stat, or should I, and then immediately be like, oh yeah, no, that Pokemon evolves on level 16. Like it's all like the same for me. Like it's just playing Pokemon. And I mean, that's just how I engage with games anyway, like just by nature of the fact that like I chose to like have a job where a big part of it is like explaining things to people about like the inner workings of a video game, but also like talking to other people that know just as much, if not more than me, on like podcasts and videos and stuff like that about the same thing, So like just the way I play games and engage with games and think about games and talk about games is usually varied in that way. It usually has that spectrum. Yep.
So that makes sense. But that said, we got, I mean, it obviously it's like time pending and depending on where we're at in life and all that stuff. But the next big Pokemon game, we should play it like that. We should play it together.
True.
Especially if it's 4-player. I don't care if what we got to do is it's me, you, and Ashley, and we all like play the game like that. That could be cool. We should do it.
Could be fun. I'd be down. Speaking of games that we're playing, what games are we playing? Also, I should say real quick, if you're watching the video, that right there is Thrill House, needlessThingsDMV.com. I finally got one, but also you should all get one too. He makes, if you're listening to the audio thing, it's a Blastoise.
I did the big cam.
Yeah, there you go. Right there. Look at it. It's beautiful. Also, it looks even better in person than it does in the pictures. That's
true. I got 2 of them. They'll go up when this room when we do the painting and all the other good stuff. TBD.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm close to done with things in this room. Over on this side, I've got some guitars and stuff. You can't see them in camera right now. And a new keyboard.
I'll go back to
and
the
then
big
on this
cam.
side. Well, you can't see it from the angle. I don't feel like moving my camera around. So, the last thing I need to figure out is I have got all my Pokemon cards and I want to do something with them, but I don't know what. And that's going to be a perpetual thing because like I don't want them to be out in a way that like, especially for the like more classic cards and stuff, in a way that somebody could be like, oh, that's cool, and then rip one up. I don't know.
You could frame them.
I could, but there's something about that where then they feel like too far away. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know what the happy medium is there. A quick thought that I just thought of, could frame them in a way that it's not actually framed, like it's in a frame, but not with glass on top of it, but they still have like slots maybe.
Yeah,
so you can like,
right, like you could like put it in a frame, not put the glass over it, and then do like a sleeve, like frame a sleeve, so you could take it out the sleeve. You could do that.
Yeah, something like that. That could work. I don't know. I'll think about that a little bit and figure out kind of what that looks like. Also, then like, what do you frame? You know, because there's so many cards. But in any case, that's the room. That's the office. It's almost done. My Christmas list is basically just finishing touch type things that I'm like, I think I'd like to buy these eventually, but I don't buy things for myself that often. So if you want to get them for me instead, go for it. Kind of a thing. Yep. So that's what I put for my Christmas list for my wife and in-laws and stuff. But yes, what games are we playing?
I'm playing Pokemon.
Yeah. I don't have anything else. I mean, I'm basically same, and that's it. Yeah. Haven't played very much more of it either. So continue. So I got to Master Ball rank. I don't think I did that since I did that this week. I don't think so.
I did it to game like right before the Game Awards. I got to Master Ball rank in doubles specifically, and my team has Tatsugiri and Dondozo. And do you know about that whole situation?
Yes, vaguely, because you talked about it last time, so I kind of know.
So those 2 Pokemon, specifically Tatsugiri, don't really work in singles. Dondozo's fine, like you can make him bulky and then be cringe, and cheese people with him. But I don't want to do that, so I took those 2 Pokemon off my team, and I put Annihilate and not off because they're still like if I'm playing doubles, I'm still going to use them. But if I'm playing singles,
I was going to say, do you have to use the same team to qualify? Okay,
nope. Cool. You can use whatever Pokemon you want as long as it is legal. You can use it. I just specifically took them off because like I want to have the option to use different like I could like what I was doing at first to get out of like beginner rank or whatever is like I had my team and I just didn't pick Tatsugiri or Dondozo out of the 3 because you pick 3. It's 3v3 out of the 6 Pokemon that you have. But I had less options if I had them in my like roster for that selection. So I just swapped those 2 Pokemon out. So I'm not in that situation where I have less options than my opponent does. And it's been going all right. I'm like almost in Ultra Ball rank, which is the rank right below Master Ball rank again. So I'm going to get hopefully all the rewards for singles and doubles, at least for this season, which is neat. And I might do that next season. I don't know if I'm making a whole new team, because some people do that. Some people like make new teams every season. I don't know if I'm gonna do all that. But I might make 2 or 3, because the thing is, like, a lot of the rewards do kind of incentivize that, because they give you like money, or in this case league points, and then they give you stuff like bottle caps, like, it just makes making new Pokemon faster for free. Well, not for free, for leveling, like getting to that part of the ladder. So like I might make like a Pokemon or 2 to like switch it up a little bit. But right now the plan is just to try to get to Master Ball rank every season until I don't feel like doing it anymore. And it's fun.
Makes sense.
And also battling with friends, but there's still, like, I'm still waiting for some teams to happen. Like, Mega Man has his team. I battled him. Helping Trev currently make his team. I battled him, but he's trying to make some changes to it. And like once that happens, we're back to where I was with like Sword and Shield for a while with like Mars and like Rise and all that. And doing multi battles on stream and stuff like that. So that would be cool.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, playing Pokemon. I played Smash a teeny tiny little bit. But not that much. So nothing really to report there.
Yeah. The only other thing, let me check my Switch real quick because I'm pretty sure this is accurate. Yes, it's just Mitch and Catherine came over, our friends, and we played Ultimate Chicken Horse, which I played many times. But they have you can like tweak rules and stuff, and we've done it once before, but totally forgot about it, and we remembered about it. And you can make yourselves like, we're tiny and have jetpacks all the time, and like collisions make explosions, and you can collide with each other, like all sorts of things. If you've never played the game, everything I'm saying is just
I played it before.
I mean, I know you have, but I mean everybody else. Like, but so all that said, basically same game that we played a million times, now very different, and lots of funniness has happened, and that's just always fun, having a good old time with friends. So that was the only other game I think that I played this past week, but had a grand old time with it. Also going to an escape game in the next on Sunday.
Escape room.
Escape room, yes, exactly.
Nice.
It's like one of the highest rated ones in the country or something like that, apparently. So that'll be fun. But yeah,
nice.
That's the plan.
The other thing that I mean, this isn't a different thing that I played really, but when I was like trying to figure out my singles team, I was playing Pokemon Showdown, and Pokemon Showdown has once again proven that it is good that chats are not in online Pokemon or Smash games, because they're cringe, and even I was cringe, dude. I'm not like crazy toxic, but like just when people do cheesy stuff, I put like LMAO. Like somebody's whole strat is to time me out and use toxic the entire time. LMAO.
Yeah.
Like that's just me. I'm like, all right, man, I'm glad that there's no chat, because it just be having me tight and want me to voice my opinion on their incredibly cheesy team. But yeah, Showdown has that though. And it does nothing good. I mean, sometimes there'll be like I'll be playing and then somebody will do something cool, or I'll do something that people think is cool and be like, yo, that's a neat strat, never would have thought of that. Sometimes that happens, but that is very 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 rare, and is way more common for somebody to be cringe.
Yeah, I've even noticed on games, like there was I don't know, some mobile game that I played years ago, that I played very briefly, but it had like, it was PvP, and you could just use emotes of some sort, you know. And even those, like, it's so hard not to read those as sarcastic. Yeah. Like even times where I was like being like, like
I would actually using the emote of like happy face. Like he's not actually happy.
Like, and I would I would do something, and then I'd be like, or they do something, and I'd be like, good job, or high five, or something, whatever. And depending on how they responded, I could tell that they thought that I was being facetious.
Yeah.
And like, no, I was just trying. Okay.
It's like the Smash thing, like at the end of the match or whatever, like you could do like the like not emote, but like the little final message. Whenever somebody puts "you're amazing" after getting 3 stock, they don't actually mean that. I guarantee you, I've never encountered anybody on Elite Smash or Quick Play before I was on Elite Smash that like when they said "you're amazing," they ever actually meant that.
Man, yeah, that's funny.
But yeah,
and that's a lot of why I don't like playing games online.
But randoms, like playing with friends is fine.
Exactly. Totally.
But also like on Switch specifically, because there is no chat, it's easy to ignore all that. In my opinion, like I don't give a crap about what you think because Nintendo doesn't even let me see it. So like I'm just playing the game. And I mean, in some like Smash Brothers, like people teabag and stuff like that. So like that's there. But really, that I just laugh at that. I'm just like, wait, like I don't care. You're bad. You're like showing me that you're angry, and like, what is the stride in that? But yeah, I get it.
Yep, makes sense. And you know what else we get is we get questions.
True.
Whenever we do this podcast, we say, "Hey, you got questions?" And people say, "Yes, we do." I put a challenge forth to Twitter to try. To try to out question Discord, but you know what? It was unsuccessful.
They did not do
that. Cheesy represented Twitter, and but otherwise Discord came in strong. So that's, you know.
100, I think
maybe there's another one on.
Yeah, I think there's at least one.
Maybe on your retweet or something.
Yeah, hold on. I think there's like one.
I'll find it. Maybe, perhaps. 2 quote retweets. Yeah.
I think it was like Chris to be.
You got it.
Yeah.
'Twas indeed Devilman's Crybaby.
Yeah.
Good call out. I would have totally missed that. All right, cool. So, questions from Twitter. Cheesy asked, you've been given the task to make the best snowman. However, you can't use snow. What would you use to make your snowman? I responded to this saying somebody else has been watching season 3 of Taskmaster. My wife and I just started watching Taskmaster like 2 weeks ago or so. And it's a British game, quote unquote game show. You know, it's like more like within the lines of Whose Line Is It Anyway, but more game showy than that. But it's basically like the main purpose is just comedy. Like nobody wins any money or anything like that. But it'll have 5 comedians that are on, and they're asked to do various tasks in like pre-filmed things. Like, so months ago, they had them come to this location and they were given a task to do. And, you know, sometimes it's a pretty straightforward thing. Other times people can come up with ways to like cheat the system or, you know, think outside of the box a little bit. Like, for example, there was one that there was a stuffed camel, and they were told to fit this stuffed camel through to get it through the smallest gap. And so some of them like tried to fit it through a tiny little, you know, gap between somewhere. And one of them made it within their 10-minute timeline to Baby Gap, like the store, and they're like, this is the smallest gap that there is. And they won, but just for like, you know, the jokes of it and stuff. So all that to say, it's a fun time. This is one of the tasks from that is make a snowman, but it was the dead of summer. So Cheesy, I appreciate all that to say too. It's just on YouTube. Like anybody can go watch it. It's just got ads on it. So check out Taskmaster. It's real fun. What do you think? What's your answer?
Sand.
Interesting. How would you make it like just water?
You wet the sand. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sand or like if we want to get super cheesy, freaking clay, you know? Like,
yeah, right.
There's a lot of stuff you can make a snowman out of that's not snow. If you have it near you, if it's summertime, then like it's a reasonable assumption that you can get the sand.
Yeah, I think.
So sand.
One of the ones on the episode that I thought was fun was mashed potatoes.
Oh my god.
So that's a fun one. But I mean, to come up with something for myself, oh man, to me this would be a cursed snowman, but I feel like a lot of like, I don't know, a lot of glue kind of stuff and cotton balls.
True.
Even if like cotton balls and saran wrap, just get a bunch of them together and just like and make a circle and then just make a couple of those circles. I cannot touch cotton balls. Like they're something about it. I don't know what it is.
You could do it out of like pillow stuffing.
Yeah, there you go. That works.
Do that.
Perfect. We did it. That's the snowman to be. Christmas.
I don't know how you would hold all that together. I mean, it like sort of adheres a little bit. But it falls apart.
True. All right. Devilman's Crybaby asked, what's your perfect Christmas gift? The perfect gift someone could give you without worrying about money.
See, here's the thing. I'm very bad at this. I'm very bad. I'm good at, I think, I mean, it's not like, I can't like say this with authority, but I think I'm pretty good at giving gifts, but I'm bad at getting gifts because I don't know what I want ever. And when I do know what I want, I either get it or I don't feel comfortable asking other people to get it. So like, I don't know, but like,
if someone could read your mind or just know what, you know, like you didn't have to ask them, they just like, whoa, that was the thing that I wanted and I never would have said so.
Right. That's like this. Okay. So there's a specific example of like the type of gifts that like I try to give that like I'd assume I'd be down for. Is like it's just stuff that like usually comes up and like not even in a like, man, I really wish I had this, but in a like way that I see as like this would either be like quantifiably useful to this person or this would make them really happy because they've like wanted this for whatever reason, right? And I want to say what the specific thing is, but I also don't because I don't want to give it away for this person. But stuff like that, like just thoughtful stuff. It doesn't even have to be something that's like expensive or like takes a long time or whatever, but just stuff like that. It's like are the best types of gifts to me, especially as like as an adult, because like as a kid, it was very easy. It was like, yo, what video game do I want that I don't have? Get that. But now it's like, and not even like in the sense that like I'm an adult, so like I don't play as big because that's very not true. I play significantly more games than I did as a kid, honestly. But
just that you'll buy things for yourself.
I'll get it for myself, or I'll get a code, or you know. And I'm like, it's not even a like I have disposable income. It's like, no, I'm actively incentivized to like buy video games now. So like the like my gift logic as a kid, it just doesn't even work with me now. So like it is very much so like the gifts that I find myself appreciating the most and like wanting to get and or do for other people is that sort of thing of like, this is a very thoughtful but you never would have thought of this gift, you know?
I mean, I could honestly say for me, along those exact lines, I think the perfect gift, more or less, was given. Ashley spoiled it tonight on purpose. But she was like, it's just going to be so much easier if you already know to be able to like, because there's planning involved or whatever. So she just went ahead and told me, and I was like, and after the fact, she's like, no, I feel like I ruined Christmas. I'm like, nope, way better to just know already. But she got tickets for a concert for an artist that I really like, Pliny. But they were in Atlanta. And it's my friend Rob and I, so he lives in Orlando, and he and I have been working on making some music together, but he's super far away. And we're like, I probably like the same way that Zion and I are like very much
the same human,
kind of the same person. Like Rob, even more so. Like every time I watch Zion video, he also just reminds me of Rob similarly. And so, yeah, like probably kindred spirits wise, Rob and I are very, very similar, which is really nice. He also recently started collecting Pokemon cards again, just because a friend of his gave his old box of Pokemon cards to Rob's son. But he was like, these are yours, but I'm gonna like hold on to them because, you know, at this point he could just take his Charizard and trade it to some kid for, you know, some like new card or something. It's like, oh, that one looks cooler because it's a full art card. And it's like, no, that kind of a thing. All that to say, but she mentions that, so instead of she and I going to the show together, he and I are going to go to the show together, and I'm going to fly down. He lives in Orlando, like I said. So I'm going to fly down there, spend the weekend, and like I would not be able to ask, even though this is something that I need to be able to get over, but nevertheless, would not be able to ask like, hey, can I just leave for the weekend and you just have to deal, you know, take care of our daughter completely by yourself for 3 days.
And she knows that you wouldn't ask that, but also knows that you would enjoy that.
Yes.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right.
So it coming like from her, as opposed to me having to just not ask it because I wouldn't, is like huge. So yeah. So that's like, I mean, it's all the way out in May. And then we realized that, yes, there's a show in Atlanta, which we would have to do a road trip for. Literally the night before, there's just a show in Orlando. So I think we're going to try to just switch out the tickets and go to it in Orlando, which is just funny. But yeah, so I think that kind of thing, like,
but yeah, that's like, and like I guess an easy to quantify example of like the sort of thing that I'm talking about. It's like your computer, right? I heard you talking about for a really long time. I'm going to get a new 2011, or even the Pro controller. You being like, oh, I'm going to get a new controller or whatever, and I'm like, don't do that. Like, and I know you're not going to go and buy a freaking like first party Pro controller, so I'm like, no, I'll do it. You know, that sort of stuff is a good example of like the types of gifts that I try to give.
It's pretty good ones, not gonna lie.
It's like, it's just an easy way to know that it's something that you're gonna want, because like it's something that you want but can't get, like, bring yourself to get for yourself. So I'll do it. Or even like the thing that I try to do now with all my friends that have children, the Pokemon starter thing. Like, I'm sure it wouldn't be easy to like justify in your head, I'm going to spend X $100 on buying these Pokemon, right? But it's a cool thing to have. I can justify that. So here, right? Like, that's the sort of thought. I mean, the sort of things that I like getting and giving.
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense. Good old Christmas gifts, you know. Sometimes they just hit right.
I'm also bad at Christmas gifts specific, and not because like not the gift side of it, but just the thought of it being like specifically Christmas.
Yeah,
because half of my upbringing is very not that. So it's like what my mom would do is like, I know Kristen is coming. I know FOMO is a very popular thing around here, and people like get actively depressed. So like, I'm just going to randomly get you gifts for no reason at all. So like, that's usually what my thought process is of like, if I'm going to get something for me, I'm going to get it whenever. And that's similar to like people that I'm going to get something for. Is like, if I see something that I know somebody's going to like, or it's going to be used for whatever, I'm just going to get it. But Christmas is like obviously a popular incentive for getting those sorts of things. So
I mean, and thankfully, I guess your birthday's right around, it's 2 days after Christmas too. So like, as far as FOMO or whatever, like, you wouldn't have had to wait too long, I suppose.
No, but even then, she didn't celebrate birthdays either. Yeah.
Oh, no,
right. Yeah, none of that is celebrated. But like, I lucked out because like I have a parent that doesn't celebrate any of that stuff, but I have another parent that is very into that stuff. So it's like, whereas like a lot of people in my situation have birthdays within the vicinity of Christmas, all that stuff gets lumped in. For me, it was very not that. It was like, you're just gonna have 2 Christmases worth of gifts. So like, I can't complain about that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, gifts are fun, but hard.
Yeah, I agreed. All right, questions from Discord now. So GK Dope Ask, who said we could say Esquire or Ask, either works. But now I'm gonna say Ask. Because, you know, Parker likes peppermint tea. What's your favorite mint flavored food, drink, or candy? And I'm assuming the second half is for both of us. Okay, question real quick.
Is this so? I don't know if this is mint flavored. So
just chocolate mint.
I'll spin the block on this. GK Dope-esque if this is not along the lines of what you're thinking, because it's not really mint flavored, it's just a mint kind of. But those freaking icebreaker, like the icebreaker sours, those are the best mints of all time. There's not a mint that's close to being as good. They're the best mint.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. I'm going to go in the actual mint flavor direction, but it is going to be chocolate mint because, you know, that's the way it is. So, like, you know, I mean, there's some good
like
classics
chocolate
like
chip,
Junior Mints
like
and Andes.
I was about to say, is there like a specific version of this?
There is a specific one, and it is After Eights.
I've heard of this, but I've never had it.
It's I don't know that they're. I mean, you can buy them in the States, but it's just really expensive. Like I saw a box at World Market for like $10 or $8 or something, and that's like just way more than I care about.
Wait, how much is in the box?
But they're like not enough for $8 or $10. I mean, it's probably this about that big of a box, and it's got. So the things themselves are like, it's chocolate with like mint. I mean, like within a Junior Mint kind of thing, you know, where it's like chocolate with mint stuff inside of it, but they're super, super thin. So in that size of a box, there's probably 50, just like still not justifiable for $8 or $10 IMO. But super good. So yeah, chocolate mint wise, that's what I'd go for. Lifesavers are good too.
Sure.
If it's just like straight up mint. That's what I would say. Let asks, what makes a year good for you in terms of Nintendo releases specifically?
I mean, the like impact of this ends up just being like, is there a game that like I obsessed over at some point?
Yeah, right.
But like the like active thought of it is just like, is there like a decent spread of reasons to play? That are new anyway, like to specifically like this year was really good. This year, for example, I think was really good because like there was something to play in every quarter that was new. And that's a good year. Like we had Kirby, we had Splatoon, we had Pokemon, we had friggin' Pokemon again. There was like pockets of time where there was just a game that like everybody, if not everybody that usually plays these sorts of things, was playing these things in those times. And I think that is a good example of a year. I think next year is also shaping up to be that because we have Tears of the Kingdom and other stuff that got kicked into next year.
Yep. I think for me, because of the time element of it and stuff, it also the games that I specifically play aren't the only factor, but also just like things that are in my wish list. So like if there, I mean, this year specifically, there's probably like 10, 15 games that I didn't play, but would see and be like, yeah, I mean, if I had that game, I would be excited about that game. Again, like, I don't know when I'm specifically going to play it, but like just games that I'm like, that's a good game. And the more of those that there are, the better. And also the more variety that there is, the better. But like, yeah, there was specifically this year, there was a whole lot of that. But I expect that to be kind of the same going forward. It's just like, I don't want to judge the quality of a year based on my interaction with it dependent
Yeah,
based on
I mean, it's kind of
what
like
I'm doing.
it's like the Pokemon thing. Like
Yeah.
Pokemon Legends Arceus being your favorite game of the year is not you saying that you didn't like Scarlet and Violet. It's you saying I didn't play that enough.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So, by the time that I played more of that, TBD on the comparison or anything
Yep.
there. But yeah, all in all, it's just like, I think this year specifically, I think was really good. And there's a lot of games that's like, man, would have loved to play that game. And still, I think especially feeling like would have loved to play that game and would still be down to play the game in the future. Because I feel like there are some games where it's like, I would have loved to play the game when it came out, but I couldn't care less anymore, and this year, I don't feel like that was really the case. I feel like there's a lot of games that have staying power in terms of being cool. Nice. Chronically Cal asked, what common vacation destination would you least like to travel to?
Like location or like a country and or state slash province.
So. Like
friggin' Paris. Paris. Yeah, I don't think I care about going to Paris at all.
Yeah. Any specific reason why?
It just doesn't seem like it would be interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that people talk about in Paris that like is something that I want to specifically engage with. Like none of their food sounds like anything that I want to eat. Like I don't care about the friggin' the what is that, the tower called?
Eiffel Tower. Goodness gracious. I almost said Tower of Pisa. I'm like,
that's what I was about to say. I don't know I was about to say that, but I don't care about any of that. So probably Paris. I just have no reason to want to go there.
I mean, controversial potentially. I almost want to say New York. Like,
have you never been to New York?
No, I've been to New York.
So
2 or 3 times.
Well, that makes sense then. I don't think I mean, I don't actively like. So the only reason why I like going to New York is because I know people there. But I wouldn't specifically want to go. And part of this is like the same thing that I talk about a lot with like Hershey Park. Or to a lesser extent, like Six Flags. It's like I wouldn't want to travel to New York because it's not special to travel to New York for me anymore. It's like it's just a place that I go because my friends are there, not because there's like any type of allure or like anything actively interesting about it to me. So I get that. I agree.
But I mean, I guess I could even say the same of like a bunch of the like U.S. cities specifically, like LA, Las Vegas, like those kinds of places. I just like, I don't know that there's things that I feel like speak to me in the like, I mean, Ashley and I were just saying, we live just outside of Nashville, and she's like, people will come here for the bachelorette parties and for like be like, I can't wait to get back to Nashville and stuff. And we're like, what are you doing here? Like, who cares? Like, but just like actively city things and city activities have just never spoken to me. So, I feel like New York in my mind is the epitome of that, but there's lots of places that are like that.
I'm different in that regard. I like city stuff. I'm a very like city oriented person generally. But just because it's propinquity. It's like I don't care about this because it's always been there and I've been there a lot. So it's like I don't care, whatever. But I think that definitely does check out for you. I could have guessed that for sure.
Yeah. And it's like it's weird because it's not that I actively dislike cities. It's it's more that
they just don't gel with you as well.
Like even when we lived in Brussels, and that's I don't know, 1.5 million population city or something. Brussels population 2022. Let's find out. I mean, it's not that anymore. Okay, now it's a 2 million person city. At the time it was like 1.5. But that was a city and stuff. But it was a city that I knew, and so even then, I still didn't do the city activities like going to a bar or going to like I don't even know. I also like museums. I don't love most museums. There's some cool museums to me, but so it's just like a lot of those kinds of things that like the reasons that people would want to go to a city that they don't know aren't reasons that I would want to go to a city I don't know. But like cities that I do know, that's fine.
I mean, that's kind of along the lines of like how I feel about like with Paris, but it's just like specifically like like the types of like, so a lot of things what people want to do is when they travel is like they want to eat the food there and stuff, like that's the thing that's like I already know I don't like your food. Like there's like some food that's like fine, but most of it I'm not trying to go out of my way to go there, you know. That for me, like there's like, and this part of it is because like I've been there so much, so I know this. The things that I do like about New York is there is more to do there than that, like than the like base, which to be fair, to your credit, that is what a lot of people want to do there is like just go to bars and stuff like that. But there's way more stuff to do than just that. That's like the first layer of tourism stuff to do, but there's a lot more depth there.
And I think that's the thing. It's like just no, it's that's a good question for what it's worth.
I agree. It's hard. It's hard because it's like
it's tough.
I don't know. Like there's types of vacations that I'm like sick of and done with and never want to do again. I mean, I'll probably do it again because they're popular, the types of things, but I'm uninterested. It's like we talk about the going to the beach. I hate going to the beach. I don't like going. I'm over it. I'm so sick of it. I don't want to go to beaches anymore. Sign me out. But like I'll go like snowboarding or something. Like I went the polar opposite of that at this point because I had so much of that growing up that I don't care to have it ever again.
No, I went skiing a ton as a kid just because we were super, super close to, I mean, we were on the foot of the mountain, so we'd go skiing all the time. And then I went a couple of times in high school just because it was still comparatively convenient to go once a year. And I haven't gone back. And that's one of those things like it's so much more of a hassle now that I am an adult and have to like do it myself. Right. But that would be fun. I'd love to do that again sometime. Go to a mountain, go snowboarding, skiing, whatever. But, for now, just play SSX or 1080.
Yeah. They don't even make those anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's sad. Alec asked, it's 2 a.m. and you're at a diner. What are you ordering?
Depends on what type of mood I'm in, man. Maybe I'll get waffles. Maybe I'll get like a freaking melt of some sort. Depending on what they have, like a freaking barbecue chicken melt or a tuna melt. I'll see what else they got, but
I hadn't thought about the breakfast angle of that. I feel like for me, it's a pretty easy, like it's either a burger or like a breakfast platter kind of a thing, like eggs, bacon, hash browns kind of a situation. Yep. So depending on which direction, like what I'm feeling and the place is, like,
feel like
it's one of those two things.
I guess it depends on like how long you've been up. Like, does your brain think that it's dinner time or breakfast time? And that will determine which of those paths you go down.
100%. It was always really funny when I was working third shift at Burger King, and we'd have people. We had some hours of overlap, I want to say. No, that's not true. I think it officially cut off at a certain time where it was like nighttime.
Yeah, it's like 11 or something like that.
It was like 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. or something like that. But it was funny at the 5 a.m. kind of time, having people roll in, obviously finishing up their night, and then somebody roll in, starting up their day, and then somebody finishing up their night. And like just seeing those back and forth was just always just a little funny because like,
can you ever not like, because I know that there's like, and this is like increasingly like less the case, I feel, in like places like McDonald's and stuff like that, but can you ever not order anything that's not breakfast? Because I know there's a hard cutoff usually for breakfast. Is there a cutoff for everything else?
Yeah, at least when I was at Burger King, it was like 5 a.m. I'm pretty sure we just switched to breakfast completely.
Oh, okay,
like,
so you can't be like, yo, give me a Whopper at 5 a.m. Okay.
And even McDonald's, I think, is kind of reverting back to that now. Where like, I thought
because for a while, McDonald's was like, you can get breakfast stuff anytime.
Yep. And that is not the case anymore, at least at the ones around here. And it's
I don't know.
sad
I don't go to
'cause
McDonald's often, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
sometimes that was nice and convenient.
Mhm.
Man, I really want to breakfast from out, and it's 10:32, and that's like the time that
Yeah, I hate that. I hate
Chick-fil-A
that.
cuts off, and yeah.
I didn't even know Chick-fil-A had. I mean, I knew like in a like very removed from myself, like they gotta have that kind of way. But like I never actively thought to be like, I wonder what Chick-fil-A's breakfast is. But
At least, I mean, to us, that's probably one of our more regulars of the like fast food breakfast.
I mean,
places.
it seems like it's probably one of the better ones. I just don't. I just like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never thought to get. I guess it's because I like when I'm thinking breakfast, I'm not thinking chicken other than chicken and waffles. Do you have chicken and waffles?
Yeah. I don't think so.
That's stupid. Chick-fil-A should close down forever
They
for
should
more
get waffles.
reasons
That
than
is-
just that.
Yeah. That's funny. Bam. Breakfast times.
But yeah,
Last
there it
question. This was RP who asked, who do you guys have for the World Cup final? France, Argentina, Narnia?
I don't even know. Huh? Who's still? Who's in?
I think that's
Is
it.
it
It's just
France versus
and
Argentina?
I think it was Argentina versus Morocco was in the last one, and that's all I know outside of this.
I know nothing. I'm gonna guess Argentina because it starts
I'm
with
gonna
an
guess
A.
France. Yeah,
Of course,
I'm gonna
you
say France
would.
just
Of
because
course you would.
you know
Yeah.
jingoism and stuff. Not really. But no, I do. I remember I've never paid attention to World Cup at all, except for when I was 7 or something, and France was in the World Cup and they won, I want to say, or Brazil won, but Zinedine Zidane was like doing good or something. All I remember is that like kids in my school were just so excited about the World Cup in France and
Fair enough.
whatever. So fun times, you know?
Glad to hear it. I think Mario's gonna win.
Indeed.
Freaking like, comment, subscribe, man. If you're listening on podcast services, go to YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. If you're on YouTube, you see our Twitter and all our other stuff. Follow us on whatever you're not following us on. Also, follow us on TikTok. We're doing TikTok things. Check out the Patreon. Goodbye.
Bye.